Yo, what's going on, man? This is your boy Super Mario Man, and you are in the Yo with your boy. Today we're going to be talking about some plugins from the Tom Hilbe equipment company out of Los Angeles or whatnot. Now, I haven't heard of Tom Hilbe nor his products, and I have to say, man, this is a new discovery for me or whatnot. And I came across their plugin, though, from a legendary New Orleans producer. You probably heard of all of his songs and beats and creations from No Limit, man, KLC, out of New Orleans. He was actually doing, I guess, a promo post or something like that for the PHAT Preamp plugin that they, I guess, recently had on sale or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but when I saw his post, I was like, I've never seen that plugin before. I keep up with my plugins, but I never seen that plugin before, and I was like, I gotta go check it out and see what it's working with, man. So went over to the website and everything, tomhilbe.com, and I have to say, man, I did some research on it and I was kind of impressed with it, man. So this is the website right here, tomhilbe.com, which is called the company out of Los Angeles or whatnot, man. And very, very good products. I like what, you know what I'm saying, I was reading with the plugins and really getting to understand the Mo 67, the Mo 5, and the PHAT and everything like that. So these preamp plugins are based on actual hardware, and reading the description right here, this particular plugin, before there was actually API, that's how they say that. Before there was actually API in 1968, there was Mailcore in 1967, and Mailcore was basically a military spec audio equipment that the United States military use in their broadcast consoles for the AM FM radio market, and everything like that. And they utilize these particular preamps throughout rock and roll to improve recording capabilities and all that other good stuff. Now, what's cool about the Mo 67 preamps is that they come with a 1731 op amp, which, you know what I'm saying, it does what it do, man. It injects life, you know what I'm saying, that mojo. It puts that seasoning on your audio recordings and everything like that, man. And was definitely used in late 60s and early 70s and stuff. Now it's available in your DAW. All right, cool. We also have another plugin here, and that is the Mo 5. Okay, now this is based on the Motown sound and everything like that, and they also do have a piece of hardware that's based on this as well. Now, if you're looking for an R&B type of sound, classic R&B type of sound, this plugin may be for you. This is called the Mo 5 Motown Mic Pre plugin, or you can go out there and get the hardware or whatnot. But this is based on a NOS Bayer, excuse me, let me say that again. This is based off of a NOS Bayer input transformer, a NOS 709 op amp, and a Jensen JT 123 op output transformer. That's a lot of packing in the punch for a 500 series and whatnot. But this particular plugin was modeled after the original 60s Motown Metropolitan Desk, which currently resides in Uptown Records in Tacoma, Washington, or whatnot. But you know, this particular sound of the plugin is based on that 1960s Motown sound or whatever the case may be. And last but not least, we have the PHAT plugin or whatnot. So if you're just looking for just something to turn up and just give you that sound, that fatness that you're looking for, well, I guess this is it right here. This is the PHAT Hilbe plugin. I'm not exactly sure if this is a piece of hardware that's modeled, but they maybe took some of the components and made it out of a plugin, and it's basically saying that, hey, this is in competition with the API stuff or whatever the case may be. That Mailcore sound, which has that 1731 op amp in it. And I have already played around with the plugins, and I'm gonna tell you right now, wow, they sound pretty good. You know what I'm saying? They sound pretty good. You can test these plugins out at your discretion at any time, but I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a hefty price tag on it. All three of these plugins, well, two of these plugins, the Mo 67 and the Mo 5, starts out at $200. that's a bit pricey for a plug-in, man. That's a bit pricey for a plug-in. But if you was to put this against a $200 preamp hardware outboard gear against these two plugins, I'm gonna be honest with you, these plugins gonna win. And in this shootout, that's exactly what we're gonna do. And this plugin right here is at $99. Now, I went to go look to see where you can buy this on an online retailer or anything like that. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the only thing I could find that was legit, that I utilize and I trust from buying plugins, is from pluginfox.com. Again, pluginfox.com. Not exactly sure why this website is reloading, but let's go ahead and reload it up right there. All right, cool deal. So you can see right here that the Hilbe Mo 5 Motown starts at $199. The Mo 67 is Milcore. It starts out at $199, and then the Phat starts out at $99. All three of these plugins are available to buy either on the website here, where you can buy the perpetual plugin license via iLock, or you can get it right here, and I'm quite sure you get the details to your email or whatnot. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be dead honest with you, man. These plugins are a little bit too pricey for a plugin. I mean, they up there giving that UAD pricing, but I'm gonna be honest with you. It sounds really, really good and stuff like that. And you can't really knock what they got going on, man. I ain't gonna even lie to you. But definitely, man. We're gonna go ahead and do this preamp shootout. Now, let's talk about the preamp shootout. We're going to be putting these plugins right here at the bottom right corner. We're going to be putting these plugins against UAD plugins, and also 3 outboard preamp devices that I have or whatnot. And the preamp devices that I have is the A.R.T TPS2, the Alctron MP73 EQ version 2 hardware EQ, and mic pre EQ. And then we have the Warm Audio Tone Beast TB12, which is based off of an API 512 preamp and whatnot. And our plugins that we're going to be utilizing, I think I have up, is the UAD 6176, which is their new plugin that came out, the Manly VoxBox, the Avalon 737, the API Vision Strip preamp plugin. The only reason why I'm not using the preamp by itself is because that plugin is not native. And it's a couple other more that we're going to be testing out. I think it's one more that I'm forgetting, but we'll go ahead and review that in Ableton Live, man. So speaking of that, man, let's go ahead and transition into Ableton Live. All right, here we are in Ableton Live right now. We got this demo track pulled up and everything like that. I put down a scratch vocal, man, just to give you guys an idea of, what we're gonna do with the preamp shootout with these plugins or whatnot. Now I'm just going here. Oh, the other plugin was the Neve 1073 UAD plugin as well, man. We're gonna put that up just to hear how it sounds in comparison with the Hilbe preamps or whatnot. Okay, all right, cool deal. So sit back, man, get you some really, really good monitoring resources, for whether it be high quality headphones, high quality speakers, or some AirPods. I love AirPods to listen to stuff, or whatever you use to monitor. If you trust the sound, definitely pull this up, man. We're gonna go in here and do this sound comparison really, really quick. And by all means, all the gain has been matched with the original vocal and everything like that. So don't come in the comments and shoot my head off and stuff like that. This is just for funs and giggles. You do your own research, download the demos, and do what you do, because you may not have R&B vocals. You may utilize keyboards, you may utilize guitars, but we just comparing it to vocals just for the fun of it right there. All right, so just to break down this comparison and what we got going on, we have an actual vocal in the mix. So let's go ahead and turn the music up so you can hear that vocal. Let me start the track and mute. Mama's on the stove, we're cooking grits, eggs and bacon.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
All right, so you can see here. All right, so you can see here that the volume that's the original vocal right there. All right, cool deal. So the first plugin we're gonna pull up is the PHAT plugin right here, and we're gonna put this in competition with all of our plugins and our 3 pieces of hardware. Now on that vocal, if you see right here, we have a simple EQ adjustment, and then we have a simple compression going on, nothing hitting extreme, no more than 5 dB of gain reduction, and I got a little bit of auto-tune on my vocal whatnot, man. But everything else is basically all the plugins that we're going to be comparing to is in bypass right now, and we'll just be doing the side by side. All right, so we'll try to do our best to keep you guys organized and let you know what's going on. All right, cool deal, bro. Let's go ahead and hide that window and let's go ahead and get started. So we're gonna go ahead and take a listen to the PHAT first. All right, so the PHAT is in bypass mode right now, and let's go ahead with it. All right, here's the vocal, the raw vocal.
Mama's on the stove, cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, here comes the Hilbe.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove.
All right, so here's the plug-in without the music.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
And we're gonna go ahead and bypass.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
Bypass.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
And unbypass.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, we're gonna bring the music back in.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and bypass the plug-in.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove.
All right, let's go ahead and check out the vision strip, the API. We only got the preamp on, everything else is turned off. Here is the API 212 plug-in.
Mama's on the stove cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
Turn off.
Mama's on the stove cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
Solo.
Mama's on the stove cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
Off.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, we're about to do a
Eggs and
head-to-head
bacon.
comparison
Mama's on the stove
between the
cooking
PHAT
grits.
and the API. I'm gonna turn the API on first.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, you're gonna hear this loop.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, we're gonna switch to the PHAT.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove cooking grits. eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking.
All right, now we're gonna do a side-by-side comparison with the music.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, we're gonna switch to the fat.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
All right, cool. We're gonna stop it right there, man. So, just to take away on these two right here, this definitely has a little openness, and this definitely sounds fat. You know what I'm saying? It really makes the vocal sound fat, but it gets lost in the mix. If you really ask me, it definitely adds some weight to the vocal, but it gets lost in the mix. So you may have to come behind it with some type of, you know what I'm saying, gain plug in, do some EQ in order to really make this bad boy shine. But I love the sound of it. It's, oof, man, this sounds good. I ain't gonna lie to you. The API 212 preamp emulation in here or whatnot definitely sounds good. But this one right here, it gives it a run for its money. Just to say it has whatever this is. I don't know if this is a preamp only or whatnot, you know what I'm saying, but it seems like it's just a preamp by itself only. That's all you get, just a 1-knob preamp, but it sounds really, really good and adds some weight and body and a fatness to the sound that I really, really like, man. It really shines when your sound source is soloed or whatnot. All right, cool deal. So let's go ahead and get rid of the API there. All right, moving along, what we're going to do now is compare the FAT against the UAD 6176. We do have the EQ and the dynamic section bypass, so we're not utilizing the compressor and we're not utilizing the EQ. We're only utilizing right here, you know what I'm saying, the level section, and over here to the left is the preamp section. Now I do have my gain at +5, and I have the input set at the line input because we don't have a UAD Apollo, so we can't take advantage of the mic or the high Z. Yeah, we can only utilize the line and the mic. Actually, we actually can't use the line, utilize the mic, but we actually have it in line, so we can get a neutral sound. So it's basically set the gain and we can adjust the level. All right, so I got the level set already, gain matched and everything like that, and I will be putting it against the FAT preamp. All right, let's check it out.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
So this is 6176.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and bypass.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
And we're on the FAT.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
Push it a little bit.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
I'm gonna do a quick bypass between the two.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and do a solo.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, this is the FAT.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
UAD.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking
One more time.
grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
6176. Bring it back in the music.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
All right, cool deal, man. So, man, that was really tough right there. The FAT still sounds fat and everything like that. And compared to this right here, again, there's a little bit of difference, you know what I'm saying? This will sound a little bit open on the top end, but it sounds a little bit open, a little bit far and wide, if that makes any sense. All right, cool deal. So that was the UAD 6176. We only utilized the preamp section on that particular plugin. Sounds really, really good. Now, next thing we're going to pull up is the VoxBox from Manly. Again, we have the compressor turned off, the de-esser turned off, and the EQ turned off. We have our preamp section online. We have the input gain match with the original vocal, and we have it set at on 55 dB on the preamp gain and everything like that. So we'll switch back and forth and utilize what we've been utilizing. We'll be starting out with the fat first. All right, here we go.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, gonna go ahead, bypass the fat, go to the VoxBox.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, we're gonna switch back to the fat.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Ooh. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, we're gonna do a quick switch.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
Let's go ahead, solo.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
Oh, that sounds good.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
Let's go to the fat.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, let's listen to it one more time. One quick one.
Eggs and bacon.
VoxBox.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
Wow, that's pretty tough right there, man. I have to say the fat is holding his own, you know what I'm saying? Just to say it's one preamp, you know what I'm saying? Versus, you know, all the different things that make up this preamp right here on the Manly VoxBox. The Manly VoxBox sounds really good. It sounds like it's made for singing and stuff like that. But man, it's really tough. I mean, it's really, really tough. They're really, really close. But I like in this case, the VoxBox won me over on that one right there. I ain't really too much care for the 6176. Not to say it was bad, but it's just different sources or whatnot. And the vision strip, yeah, I like the sound of that. I like the sound of that very front forward in the mid range. This definitely is open on the top end as well on the VoxBox. We're gonna keep it moving and go ahead and close this plugin out. We're gonna keep the Hilbe up. And we're going to go to the Neve, man. Now, actually, let's do this. Let's save the Neve for last because I kind of want to put that in comparison with the MP73, which I'm going to move that around, move the order around a little bit. So next thing we're going to pull up is the Avalon. Now, if you do rap R&B, modern R&B, you'll know that the Avalon is a really, really dope preamp that a lot of people use in urbanistic music and pop as well. It has a very, it's renowned for his preamp and everything like that, and how airy the top end is just on the preamp alone. All right, so we know this is gonna be fat and this probably not gonna be fat, but we're gonna listen to the difference anyway and check it out. All right, cool. So everything is bypassed. We're gonna go ahead and start out listening to the source.
Mama's on the stove, cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, cooking grits.
All right, here's the fat.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, cooking grits, eggs and bacon.
Source.
Mama's on the stove, cooking grits, eggs and bacon.
UAD.
Mama's on the stove, cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, cooking grits.
Wow.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove.
We're gonna switch back to the fat.
Grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, cooking grits.
Wow.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, this is the source right here. So we're gonna go back and forth between the Avalon and the fat. So let's start off with the Avalon.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
And the fat.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
And the source.
Mama's on the stove cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
Avalon.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
Fat.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
It's the fat.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
See how heavy that weight is?
Eggs and bacon.
Avalon.
Mama's on the stove cooking grits. Eggs
Fat.
and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
Bring the music back in.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove.
That's the fat still.
Grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, we're gonna go to Avalon.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
Wow. So wow. So in this case, man, the Avalon definitely had I'm not gonna say a bigger sound. Well, yeah, you could say it was a bigger sound, but it was bigger on the top end. It didn't really have too much weight to it, but the fat definitely had the weight, and you can hear the difference between the two, and everything like that. It's just really preference, you know what I'm saying? That's where you're trying to go with more of a top end on your vocal. Go ahead and use the Avalon, or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? Or if you just need that weight and you want to carve out the low end on your particular sound source, definitely the fat would definitely work in this case right here. All right, cool. So that was the Avalon. Pretty good, man. The Avalon sounds really, really good, or whatnot. The next thing we're gonna go head to head is the UAD 1073 preamp EQ. Now, these two are known. Well, the fat, you know, it's fat sounding, but the Neve 1073 preamp is known to have that weighted sound with a little bit of high end top to it, but it makes it fat. You know what I'm saying? Everyone uses Neves to make a sound fat. So we basically, I gain match, you know what I'm saying, this particular plugin 1073 to the original source, of course, and we'll do the back and forth as we've been doing this whole little trip around. So let's go ahead and get it started. All right, so everything is bypassed right now. Let's go ahead and listen to the source.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, let's go to the UAD 1073.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
Fat.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
I'm gonna go ahead and bypass fat.
Eggs and bacon.
1073.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
Alright, we're gonna go back.
Eggs and bacon.
Fat.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
Man, that's close.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and
Solo.
bacon. Mama's on the stove.
Alright, so the
for
source
cooking grits.
it's on by itself.
Eggs and bacon.
Plug-ins bypass.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
Now we're gonna go ahead and turn on the 1073.
Eggs and bacon.
On.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
1073.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
Now we'll go ahead to the fat.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
1073.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
Fat.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
1073.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs
Bring the
and
music
bacon.
in.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
Fat is engaged.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
I'm gonna go ahead and bypass the fat.
Eggs and bacon.
1073.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove
And the
for
source.
cooking grits.
All right, cool deal. So, yeah, man, these two right here, it's almost like they got some similar characteristics, in that low, mid to low frequency range. But the 1073, UAD 1073 definitely has that top end shine to it. While this just really kind of keeps it on the low end, but it sounds really good though. I'm telling you, like with proper EQ behind this bad boy, it will carve nicely. But if I had to choose between the two, 1073 would catch me, man, because it's just versatile. It's a versatile preamp. All right, cool deal, man. So that's the 1073. It's off. Go ahead and turn that off. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the hardware things, or whatnot. So the first thing is up is going to be the Alctron. And what I'm gonna try to do here is put these three. All right, cool. So we got a triple box here. The Alctron. Basically, we have it at a set frequency at 50 dB. Line input, no EQ. So let's go ahead and just we're gonna keep the EQ engaged, but in this case we'll throw the EQ out. You know what I'm saying? So the EQ circuit is out. You're only getting the preamp circuit out of the Alctron MP73 EQ V2, which is this unit right here. All right, cool deal. So again, the EQ circuit is out. I could engage it in, so I may engage it in just to let you guys know against this fat plug-in right here. All right, cool deal. So let's go ahead and continue on and check this out. We're gonna go ahead and start out with the source and see what we're working with.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
All right, let's go ahead and start out with the outboard gear.
Eggs and bacon.
And 5,
Mama's on the stove
4,
for cooking grits.
5, 4, outboard, go.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the
All right, we're gonna go to the Hilbe PHAT 6, 7.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, let's go do a fast comparison.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
PHAT.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the
MP73.
stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove.
So that's the source right now. And I kind of messed that up, man. I kind of messed that up. I ain't gonna lie to you. Because the MP73, the bypass is so small or whatnot, man. Let's do that one more time. So this is the source.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
MP73.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for
PHAT.
cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
Hardware.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, let's check this out in solo.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
Let's go ahead and engage the EQ.
Eggs and bacon.
EQ.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
We're gonna take the EQ circuit out.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
Alctron.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
EQ in.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
PHAT.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
Hardware.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
Got dog on it.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on
You
the
can hear
stove
how that
for
voice
cooking
is
grits.
fat on the low end.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking
And then this is
grits.
the hardware. Check it when it go down.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking
All right, this
grits.
is the source.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, let's do it one more time. Hardware.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove.
So this is the MP73 with the EQ circuit engaged.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, now we're gonna go ahead and switch back to the PHAT.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
All right, cool deal. So that is the Hilbe matched up with a piece of hardware and very budget hardware, the Alctron MP73 EQ2. If you don't know about this little unit right here, it's a sleeper unit. You know what I'm saying? It's cheap. It's very cheap. $389 for that preamp EQ combo. But I'm gonna tell you right now though, I done heard some very expensive units, and I have to tell you, this is right up there. It's right up there. It has some brilliance to it or whatnot, but we don't have any EQ on. But it sounds really good, man. Fun fact: Alctron supplies some of their components to Warm Audio from research or whatnot. They don't disclose what parts go to Warm Audio, but Alctron does supply some parts, or used to supply some parts to Warm Audio or whatnot. So fun fact, you know what I'm saying? Does it look kind of looks familiar, right? With Warm Audio product. I'm just saying. All right, cool deal. So yeah, that was the Alctron. We engaged the EQ circuit and disengaged it. I have to say with my ear, I mean the Alctron, the outboard gear, it kind of won me over right there. But the Phat definitely has that low end to it as well or whatnot, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and bypass that Phat plug-in. Everything is off. The next one we're gonna be featuring is the Warm Audio right here. This is the Tone Beast, the black version, which is the version number 2. Now, you know, the Tone Beast, it has the orange version. This is the black version. This is based off of a 512 amplifier from API. So this is an API 512 clone, but you get a little bit more features for switching the discrete amplifier. You can switch out the tone for as how much dB that's coming in. You can also switch out 2 different capacitors, and also you can switch different output transformers, and you still have your gain and your saturation knobs over here. I already have it set as gain match to the original source, and just to give it its vibe and everything like that. So this right here, I'm gonna go ahead back and forth and go in comparison with the Phat from Hilbe. Right now everything is off. You're listening to the source.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
I'm gonna go ahead to the Warm Audio TB12. Here we go.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the
Phat.
stove for cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and
TB12.
bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits,
Man, they sound identical.
eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and bacon.
Stop. Phat.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and
TB12.
bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs
Bypass.
and bacon. Mama's on the
So
stove
this is the source
for cooking
volume?
grits,
Source, no plugins.
eggs and bacon.
No outboard.
Mama's on the stove
go with the
for
Phat.
cooking grits,
Phat plug-in.
eggs
3, 2,
and
1.
bacon. Mama's on the stove cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and
TB12.
bacon.
Here we go.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and
Phat.
bacon. Mama's on the stove cooking grits, eggs and
TB12.
bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits,
All right, so you still listening to the Phat?
eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and
TB12.
bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits, eggs and bacon.
All right, that's the
Mama's
source.
on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, cool. So between these two, the TB12 and the Phat, they almost sound identical. The Phat just has that bottom low end weight to its circuitry, and the TB12, it sounds like everything. There's a crossover point with the TB12 that the Phat doesn't have. And if the TB12 had that low end that the Phat has, it will definitely be identical, but it doesn't have that low end circuitry that the Phat has. So it's almost like the Phat, again, with its name, Phat vocal, low end, you know what I'm saying? Boom, there it is. But the TB12 definitely has that same, you know what I'm saying, mid to high frequency sound as the Phat or whatnot. At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, with preamps, it's all about how you're going to carve, you know what I'm saying, the EQ behind that preamp, you know what I'm saying, whatnot. But that was a really close comparison. So you can tell that some of the, op amps, amplifiers, transformers, capacitors, and everything that makes a plug-in for as emulation and then hardware, you know what I'm saying, the same ideology is applied or whatnot. We got one more test with the hardware, and that is going to be with the A.R.T. This right here, the A.R.T TPS2. Now you can still get this unit. I don't know. Yeah, they still make them. But this unit right here, you get 2 preamps for about $289. So a little bit less than $300. You get 2 preamps built in one unit. The real cool thing about this is voicing technology that they have in there. So when you turn this little knob right here, you get different voices. But basically, it's like a fixed EQ selection, and then you have a preamp gain, and you have a variable input impedance selector knob or whatnot. So you can try out different variants of impedance or whatnot. But for this comparison, because it's not fair, because this bad boy does not have any input impedance adjustment, we just keep it at its default position at the lowest at 150 ohms. All right, so at 150 ohms, preamp gain is matched to the original source, and we'll be putting it against this bad boy right here. So it's going to be this top left preamp right here that you see on the A.R.T TPS, that purple unit right above the MP73. All right, so everything is off. Let's go ahead and play the source volume.
Mama's on the stove, we're cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, we're cooking grits.
All right, here's the fat.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, we're cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, we're cooking grits, eggs and bacon.
And
Mama's on the stove, we're cooking grits.
That's the TPS2.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove.
All right, that's the source volume right there. Let me pause it for a second. So I forgot to mention that on the TPS2, we have the voice selection on warm vocal. All right, so you have 3 different sections: neutral, warm, and optical limiter, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Output protective limiting, which is called OPL. We have it on the warm section on vocal because it's the most used on vocal, and it sounds pretty good, and it just makes the vocal sound warm. But it's on the warm vocal preset right here. All right, I had to stop that so you guys could understand, because it's a little different type of setup. All right, let's go.
Mama's on
Source volume, source vocal.
Mama's on the stove, we're cooking grits.
All right, let's go to the fat plug-in.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, we're cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, we're cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, we're cooking grits.
All right, let's go to the A.R.T TPS2.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, we're cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
Fat.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, this is the fat plug-in still engaged.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and bypass and go to the hardware.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs
Fat
and
plug-in.
bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
Source.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
TPS.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
Fat plug-in.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
Hardware.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits. eggs and bacon.
Source.
Mama's on the stove, cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
Fat.
Mama's on the stove, cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
Hardware.
Mama's on the stove, cooking grits.
Wow.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, cooking grits.
All right, so that is the source volume right there. You just heard or whatnot. We're gonna go ahead and turn that down right there. But let me say something. The A.R.T. TPS2 sounded really good. It sounded better than the Phat. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? This is a $289 unit from Sweetwater. You can get right now. Get 2 preamps. Sounds really good, man. And guess what? The tube ain't really tube because it says it's a tube amplifier preamp, but it ain't really. It's kind of like a hybrid of a solid state and a tube. But it sounded really good. It sounded really good, to be honest with you. So just the goes to show you don't really need to spend thousands of dollars on the preamp, man. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. All right, but anyway, man. Yeah, you could definitely hear the difference. Phat has that low end, and the A.R.T. TPS2 is just a preamp, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not made to have a certain high end. It's not made to have a certain low end. It's just made to It's just made to do a preamp. And when you move that input impedance, let's listen to the input impedance. You're gonna see what I'm talking about. It gets really aggressive. So I'm gonna turn back on the TPS2 and just do a little quick bypass comparison with the Phat.
Cooking grits, eggs and bacon. Mama's
all right, go ahead and turn on the hardware.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, cooking grits. Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove, cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
So that's the Phat plug-in.
Mama's on the stove, cooking grits. Eggs and bacon.
Just play that.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
We'll just put the input impedance at 600.
Eggs and bacon. Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
And that's going to increase your overall volume.
Eggs and bacon.
Phat.
Mama's on the stove for cooking grits.
Yeah, so that's the difference right there. You know what I'm saying? The RTPS2 is basically a color box. It's a cheap color box that that has some really good preamps in it. And you really get the shine out of this particular preamp when you adjust the input impedance variable knob and also the voicing on the, you know, saying the voicing knob, which is what they call the V3 variable valve voicing selector or whatnot. So yeah, man, that is the Shootout on this particular plugin, man. So look, this is what I need you guys to do. I need you guys to go ahead and like this video if you like what you just saw or whatnot. We're gonna go and move on to part number 2, and we're gonna highlight not the Phat. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go ahead and move on to part number 2, and we're going to highlight the Mo 5. This is going to be the next one right here, man. The Mo 5. Let me go ahead and show you guys. So this is going to be the Mo 5. But what you got to do, you got to subscribe to the channel. You know what I'm saying? Like this video and check out part 2 of the Hilbe Preamp plugins and see the Shootout on the Mo 5 Hilbe Preamp plugin right here. It's already set up and ready to go. We're going to go ahead and break this video up, but if you want to check out this one, well, you got to subscribe, man. You know what I'm saying? Check out that upload, and you know what I'm saying, stay tuned to check out the Mo 5 against all of the plugins, UAD Vision Strip, the LA 6176, the Manly VoxBox, the Avalon 737, and the Neve 1073 against this plugin right here. You're gonna be amazed with what this one can do as well, man. So stay tuned, man. Hit the like on this video if you like it, man, and also subscribe to this channel so you can find out what we doing in part number 2, man. Until next time, man, this has been your boy Super Mario, man. Stay creative. Part number 2, you gotta subscribe to find out, man. Otherwise, you're gonna be lost in the sauce, man. We out.